يكاد البرق يخطف أبصارهم كلما أضاء لهم مشوا فيه وإذا أظلم عليهم قاموا ولو شاء الله لذهب بسمعهم وأبصارهم إن الله على كل شيء قدير
বিদ্যুৎ আলোকে যখন সামান্য আলোকিত হয় তখন কিছুটা পথ চলে, আবার যখন অন্ধকার হয়ে যায় তখন ঠায় দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে। যদি আল্লাহ ইচ্ছা করেন তাদের শ্রবণ শক্তি ও দৃষ্টিশক্তি ছিনিয়ে নিতে পারেন। আল্লাহ যাবতীয় বিষয়ের উপর সর্বময় ক্ষমতাশীল।
Yakadul barqu yakhtafu absarahum. The lightning almost takes their eyesight away. So the imagery of your eyesight being removed is being repeated. The previous parable also had it, this one also had it. When the lightning comes, their eyes are almost blinded. You know, they can stick their fingers in their ears, but that still doesn't mean they can ignore other aspects of the climate. They will still see something. This is mentioning that, even if they don't listen to the message of Islam, even if they refuse to listen to the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there will be situations that occur in the life of the Messenger and in the career of the believers that they'll have to face. They will have to face them. And those situations are so intense for them, they almost lose their faith altogether, their ability to see the truth altogether. يَخْطَفُ أَبْصَارَهُمْ كُلَّمَا أَضَاءَ لَهُمْ مَشَوْا فِيهِ. Then every time the light comes out for them, meaning a little bit of lightning strikes, they can see, so they start walking. وَإِذَا أَظْلَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ قَامُوا. And whenever it gets dark again, they stand. Ulama comment about this part of the ayah. This refers to some commandments that they find easy. When a little bit of a road is seen, when there's a little bit opportunity to move forward, go along with the believers, they'll go forward. But when times get tough again, they're standing, it's too dark, I can't move forward. Too scary for me. I'll just stick my fingers in my ear. And this, by the way, understand one of the purposes of this scene. If you're in the middle of a dark night and it's thunder and you have to travel and get somewhere, is it a logical attitude to stick your fingers in your ear just so you'll be safe? It's an idiotic thing to do, right? By means of this parable, Allah is calling out the stupidity of hypocrisy. He's calling it a stupid attitude. It is not something based in reason or in intellect. Even though the hypocrites are very confident in their knowledge and in their understanding, they're the ones that are fools. And Allah said that they are fools a few ayat ago, didn't He? Now He's explaining to us some of the aspects of their foolish behavior. Right? So here He says then, concluding, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَذَهَبَ بِسَمْعِهِمْ وَأَبْصَارِهِمْ. If Allah wanted, He would remove their hearing and their seeing also. In other words, the previous group, what did Allah take away from them? You remember? Their seeing was gone, their hearing was gone, right? Their speaking was gone. Allah says these people, at least they're following a little bit. When the lightning strikes, at least they move a little bit, so they're not completely immersed in nifaq yet, hypocrisy yet. They still have some hope. But if Allah wants, and if they continue this way, then Allah will remove their hearing, and they'll become like the previous group also. But these people still have hope. In other words, when the believer who has weak iman, like myself and you, if we have weak iman inside us and we hear this ayah, we say, we better change our behavior before Allah decides the worst case scenario, right? وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَذَهَبَ بِسَمْعِهِمْ وَأَبْصَارِهِمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. No doubt Allah is completely capable over all things. Now the concluding ayah. 3 groups have been talked about. The believers were talked about briefly. The kuffar were talked about briefly. Then the munafiqun were talked about at length. At length. Why? Because the believer is very clear category. The disbeliever, very clear category, wears a sticker on his head, kafir. You know? I've had when we were moving to Texas, one of the guys that was on a delivery truck for our car was wearing a t-shirt, said kafir on it. An infidel. Even though we don't use that translation. But they do. Proud to be kafir, right? So he's not hiding it. He's not hiding. It's clear-cut case. I was like, at least I know who you are now. You know? No mystery there. But the munafiq is a difficult category to figure out. You don't know. I don't know where I stand. You don't know where you stand. And we don't know where the person next to us stands. We don't know. And there's no reason for us to judge either. So Allah spends extra time on the case that is difficult. Extra time on that case. And then you'll notice after this introductory passage, we'll discuss a lot about Bani Israel. Why? Because they had the problem not of iman and kufr. Their real problem was nifaq, hypocrisy. Learn from their mistakes so you don't make the same mistake. That's why Allah will give us detailed accounts of the life of Bani Israel. But concluding with all three groups altogether make humanity altogether. Humanity is either believers or disbelievers, or hypocrites. So now at the end of this passage, it's time to address all of them all together. And a final invitation.